Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Conversations That Cure. I'm Michael Ryder, and I'm here with
Pops, Gregory Sturkey.
So today, we're down one of our team, but me and Pops are here to hold it down.
Yes, indeed.
And we had a discussion amongst the team last week, and one of the biggest things in pop culture and in the news lately has been the Sean P. Diddy Combs case, right? The allegations, the charges, the arrests, the list of people who have been associated with him and everything like that. And it led to a discussion amongst us and our team about how success can bring new levels of demons and different levels of just like kind of like temptation in a sense, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was thinking this morning about the quote, right? Like new levels, new devils.
Yes.
And that can relate so much within just like everybody, including ourselves, right? Like we had conversations kind of prompting up to the conversation of this about how just like even in normal day life, right? Like even men who just grind from the mud and get it out the mud and start to build up more, right? You have somebody who, might have a little bit more money than somebody else, right? You have more abilities to go ahead and do certain things and have certain temptations that come with it. So we wanted to kind of discuss that, and I wanted to get your opinion on how you felt about that quote and then the whole situation as a whole.
Looking at the whole thing, I can be honest with you, it's disappointing to hear about the whole Diddy thing, period. But one thing I think that we may miss at times, that somebody's always watching us.
Yeah.
We may not think that we're being watched, but there's always somebody watching us. And especially if you're the type of person that wants to improve your life, you want to become a better version of yourself, you're automatically going to draw attention to yourself. It's hands down. You're going to automatically, if people see you in your come up, they're going to either want to come up with you or they're going to criticize you.
Yeah.
And you're going to have both. You're going to have both, but you're going to be watched either it's good or if it's bad. And I believe that, any level of success, I believe that there comes a responsibility along with that level of success. And especially, from the views of our young people.
Yes.
Our young people, they watch us. If you're a father, your child is going to watch you. Your child friends are going to watch you. So there's a responsibility that's on you, and you're not trying to live up to somebody's expectation, but I believe that the responsibility is to be mindful of your surroundings. Mindful of your surroundings. There's a quote in the Bible that says, "To whom much is given, much is required." If you have been gifted and you're talented, you are responsible, first of all, to develop that talent, to mature it, to master it, and then to be able to handle what comes along with that talent, with that gift. You're responsible for that. And you can't say, nah, that's part of the responsibility, because your gift will make room for you. Your gift will open up doors in your life that you wouldn't normally be able to walk through. And when you step through those doors, there's a level of responsibility that comes when you step through those doors. And if you don't have that, I believe, if you haven't mastered self, you're dangerous.
Yeah. It almost comes to like a fork in the road, right? Like when even just with anything in life, right? Like you can either use it for the good or for the evil.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then especially even with like levels of success, you can be somebody like these positive influence people that we talked about, like even Eric Thomas.
Yeah.
Eric Thomas and Corey spoke about it amazingly. Eric Thomas has opened up other doors for other public speakers who then go on to impact other lives and do positive influence things.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have the opposite side of the coin, like how we're talking, when you have somebody who's so big and successful, who then uses their positions of power to against other people.
Yeah.
To manipulate, control, and do those things. Just like anything else, that fork in the road of like, what am I going to use these gifts and these abilities that God has given me?
Yeah.
Am I going to use them to help make impacts in life, or am I going to use them for selfish gains?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really that's honestly what it comes down to when I think about it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it comes down to. And a lot of the times we look from the outside in, and we think that it looks great, it looks all like this, it looks all like that. But if a person does not master themselves, and they are gifted, they're talented, and they do not practice self-discipline, self-control, they are dangerous because they are exposed to more people. And the people normally that they're exposed to, they want to be in their shoes. So they will follow along with what they're doing, and they would think that is correct. But if you can't master yourself, if you can't deal with your own emotions, if you can't pay attention to what's going on inside of your own head, you're dangerous.
Yeah.
You're dangerous. You can't be trusted, because I cannot give you or tell you anything that I have not lived and mastered myself.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do it. And I think that the responsibility, it must start with you. And a lot of times, I look at parents, and I had a couple of clients one time, and I watched how they were with their kids, and they talk with their kids, and they didn't realize that talking doesn't mean nothing. There's no power in talking. The power is in the example. If you live it, you practice what you're preaching, you live that, then that is a habit that your children will pick up. Your children pick up what you do, not what you say. So you can talk until you blue in the face. But if you're living a completely different way, they're going to follow. They're going to follow exactly what you're doing. They're going to follow it to a T. And then you're going to, as they get older, they're going to do something and cut up. And you're going to like, boy, didn't I train up? Well, Dad, you do it.
Yeah.
Well, Ma, I seen you do it. And then what could you say? You get upset. We get real upset real quick. That's why it's so important that, we practice what we're preaching, what we're teaching. We have to be examples. And if you cannot deal with your own self, if you don't know what's going on inside of your own head, and then you say, well, I got triggers, they trigger me. Can't nobody trigger you.
You're bringing up my trauma.
Yeah. You bringing up no, that's your own trauma that you have no control over.
Yeah.
I can't trigger you. I can't make you mad. That's something that you think about and you choose to do. I don't have the power to make you mad. That's your reaction.
Yeah.
But if you can't control that, but you want success, you want to be great. No, your success first. There was a quote that said, a strong man is the one that can master himself. That's a strong man, the one that can control his emotions. Watch what he say think before he talks. You know what I'm saying? That's a strong individual.
Yeah. Just like you said, I think the biggest influences in my life have always been the men and the people, just like I said, who I've watched their actions. Yeah. Actions can always influence people more than words, in my opinion, right? And that's just even this, like when I worked in a barber shop, when I was in the shop and I kind of grew through the shop and became like one of the top guys, one of the veterans then in the shop, it became to the point where it's like, okay, now I have the influence, these younger guys. And if I want them to get on the same footing as me, right, I have to do things through action. So that means when I'm not working or anything like that, I need to sweep the floor. Because if I'm not sweeping the floor, how can I expect anybody else to be doing the same thing, right? If I'm not greeting clients or talking to people as they come in, how can I expect them, these other younger guys, to do anything else, right? Just like you said with the children, like I can't expect nobody in this life to do anything that I'm not doing myself, and especially if I'm preaching it to that person, right?
One of the things that I learned when I was in church and I was an assistant pastor, people will praise you I remember getting up and preaching, and the message was good. God presence was in the place. And the people will come up to you. Oh my God, you preached a great sermon. And I'm just a chilling. And I'm waiting for them to finish. I'm like, you're not putting that on me. I didn't do nothing. I was a vessel.
Yeah.
You heard God. I can't handle God's power. I can't handle God's glory. So don't come up to me. Oh, you were magnificent. Only thing I did what was required of me was to prepare. I prepared myself to be used. But the thing that happens that we do not see is when we're going to be successful and people see us change, they praise us.
Yeah.
Oh, you look good. Oh my God, what did you do? Oh, it's so good to see. And if you're not careful, if you don't know yourself, you'll begin to ride off of that. Your head begin to get big and get big and get bigger. But the key to it is this, is that your intuition will whisper to you, slow it down.
Yeah. The acronym EGO, right? Easing God out.
Oh,
Right. I learned that through my recovery journey. And it's like, that's exactly what happens, right? I'll get, especially from like my point of view, my story, right? And to like relate it with everything like that. Like a lot of these guys that would come in, right, with like drug addicts, alcoholics, things like that, got nothing. Come from off the streets, everything like that. They get a job, a car, a little bit of money in their pocket. Life starts getting good, right? And they start feeling themselves. They get in the gym, they start getting big. Life just starts to go in their way. And guess what? God didn't do nothing for me. God spared you when you was on the street, took you off the street and brought you and gave you another shot at life. But they forget a lot of the times that. And then they ease God out. And guess what? I did this.
I did this.
And then in a couple months, days, years, it might be, you see them back on the street.
Back on the street.
Homeless, doing the same exact thing.
I mean.
And I think that comes with a lot, just even with like the levels of like, we were talking about like leadership, right? As a leader and as somebody who, you know, you want others to follow in your footsteps, the greatest thing I think you could do is serve.
Yes. Yes.
Just like you're saying, I can't take credit for this. God has given me gifts, abilities, and talents to share with other people and to make an impact within other people's lives.
That's right.
I'm a firm believer, and I know that for myself true as well in my story.
Yeah. And I think that when we begin to take the service mindset, it keeps us humble.
Yeah.
I always say that any level, humility should outweigh any level of success. And if we move in that area, we'll be mindful. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that this is perfect. You're going to get tried. You're going to fail yourself, because when you achieve something great, first person, you thank God, but boy, you did a good job. You encourage yourself.
Yeah.
You give yourself some type of praise because you stood through the storms to make it.
Yeah.
But don't get caught up in it.
Yeah.
It's just part of the journey. It's just part of life experience. But a lot of times, it's easy to get caught. It's easy.
You have to acknowledge it. You definitely, because you can't sit here and be so hard on yourself constantly.
Yes.
That you have to give yourself that grace to be like, listen, I've made it this far. I've achieved this X, Y, and Z. Thank you.
Yes.
Like I'm so grateful for it. But just like you said, also, I can't sit here and be like, I did all of this. I hate the quote, I'm self-made. No, you're not.
Nah, there's no such thing.
There's no such thing. You've had help, either whether it's through divine intervention, through spiritual help, through something has given you something in this life to get you where you're at today.
Yeah, I hate that quote, self-made. Ain't nobody self-made. I mean, when I first heard that thing, anyway, I mean, you celebrate, you always celebrate your victories.
Yes.
I don't care how big or how small. You don't forget that you stood through the storms. You stood through what you needed to do to reach that level of success. But at the same time, we must practice humility.
Yeah.
If you don't practice humility, we get caught, we get lost, and then what happens? It blows up. What you think that you can hide will never be hid.
No.
Especially if it's something that's wrong. It won't be, and especially in leadership. I think one of the most powerful thing as a leader is a person that's vulnerable
Yeah.
and they're transparent. They have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
They have nothing to hide.
There's a lot more power within that, because then when you're vulnerable and you're open about, your defects and everything like that, like your character flaws, you have the possibility to make impact on others who might be going through the same thing.
Yeah.
Because if they can look at you and your position of power of where you're at and then be like, dang, like he's going through that, I'm going through that at
Yeah.
my level.
Yeah.
That might be a thought or an idea that might be hindering that person
Yeah.
from moving forward
Yes.
in whatever it is in their lives.
Yeah.
So for this person who's on the pedestal, who's in a leadership position, who has influence, right? For them to have that vulnerability, they might be able to do that. But even relating back to the initial topic, like there's people who don't do that.
Yeah.
They keep certain demons and certain things in the dark, and they continue to allow trauma and past experiences and those things that kind of run through their lives and cause harm to others.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody who could really be in a powerful leadership position is going to use those for the good.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And what you feed, whether it's good or bad, is going to grow in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to grow. And whoever's around you that that loves you, when it grows, whether good or bad, they're going to feel the effect of it.
Yeah.
They're going to be right there. They either going to celebrate with you or they're going to cry with you, because they're going to experience that pain. Because especially in that leadership role, it's so important to just stay in touch with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Be mindful of your own thoughts. Be mindful of your own emotions. Be mindful of all of that, because all these temptations are going to come.
Yeah.
They're going to come, and you can't avoid it. I mean, that's what comes along with success.
Yeah.
That's what comes along with it. And the first level of success, I believe, in anybody's life, is to be successful
Within yourself.
Realistic.
Yeah. Because once you can achieve that, you could start to branch outwards.
Yeah.
Right. You can become successful with whether it's helping others in business and physical, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
There's so many different levels, and everybody's success bar and meter is completely different. Right.
Yeah.
What looks like success to me might not look like success to you. Right.
That's right.
And just like you said, whether temptation's always going to be there in life, regardless of who we are, what we go through. Temptation is always going to be there. But it's, do I feed into it?
Mm-hmm.
And then even if I do, am I learning a lesson from it? Or am I going to be like, well, I did it. It's not that bad of an idea. I'll just keep it in the dark and nobody has to know about it. Or am I going to use my vulnerability, my transparency of who I am as a person, what I suffer, what I go through. Yeah. And am I going to use this as something that might be able to benefit others, help myself, and then keep, just kind of grow from there?
Yeah. 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 Because I think we like people to see when we're doing great, but your truth is, who are you when you're doing bad?
Yeah.
Who are you when things are not going the right way, and you're by yourself and you're crying? Who are you? What are you saying to yourself at that time? Do you still believe that it's going to happen? How do you handle your own troubles?
Mm-hmm.
And those are the things that we hide from people, but those are the things that people need to see.
Yeah.
They need to hear about. They need to know. Do you know something? I remember once I was telling my fiance, Lisa, I was at the gym, and this was maybe, I think a month back. And like, I've been going through things because of, I have, I deal with a lot at home with my handicapped brother. Mm-hmm. And it led me back to deal with issues that was within me. I'm on this Stairmaster, and I'm doing my cardio, and everybody looking at me, I'm bouncing my head like that. They don't know. They see all the sweat coming down. I'm crying up a storm, trying to figure out how in the hell I'm going to make it through this. But they don't know. They have no clue, because people just want to see everybody doing good. They don't want to see the other side, that, it's a struggle, to any level of whatever you may call success in your life. It's a struggle. And I'm trying not to have a nervous breakdown, trying to work through exactly what I was going through. But I mean, you know, I shared with her, so I don't hide it. I don't carry it on me and make it look like, oh, he got to go. No, I don't. I'm sorry.
No, I really think that the true testament and the character of a man can be seen behind closed doors.
Yes.
It's not going to be what we show to the world.
Yes.
It's going to be what our families, our closest friends, and what's seen behind closed doors and not shown to the world.
Yes.
And if you're able to go and show that to the world, then that's when you have the influence. You become a true leader.
Yes.
And you become somebody who's really trying to make an impact in this world.
That's right. That's
so,
right.
Amazing conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
Please comment, like, subscribe on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all forms of social media.
Yeah.
Conversations that cure, Qure. From everybody here in the team, I am Michael Ryder, aka Ryder Grooms.
I'm Pops, aka Gregory Sturkey.
We thank you guys for tuning in.